Hello and welcome back to the Dune Minute Podcast, your place to dive deep, minute by minute, into the cinematic adaptation of Frank Herbert's world of Dune. I am one of your hosts, Zach.
Are you speedrunning the intro?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm John.
Only because we got a lot to talk about. That's
Okay.
all. Well, welcome back. It is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Or whatever day you're listening to this on. We are, of course, talking about minute 36 through 37, if that was not clear. It's sequential, everyone. We take these minute by minute, in order.
What if we just did a week where we just did it all out of order?
That would be chaotic, and I would hate it so much. Also, if anyone is out there that puts our show on shuffle,
What the fuck?
please let me know. That sounds insane, and I want to like shake your hand or something.
Oh my god, the Dune minute on shuffle would be wild. Oh, Jesus Christ.
We are, of course, talking about minute 36 through 37. This minute starts and ends with that pesky ornithopter just fucking shit up for everyone.
Hey, you leave those heart mollusks out of this.
We have no definitive proof that Harkonnen ornithopters use hard mollusks.
So we have no definitive proof that they don't.
That's true. That's true.
And logically,
They must.
all ornithopters should be using heart mollusks, because if the core of the technology to get this thing to fly works, if it ain't broke,
That's very true.
don't fix it.
I wonder what the ASPCA would say about this. The Arakeen Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Anyways. So we get the same ornithopter flying around. It's making a steep banking turn around the harvester. And we see one of the massive legs start to move forward as it crawls along the sand. This is where in my notes I talked about how this looked like the harvester from the Matrix and the T4 bacteriophage. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you look those up and you would agree with me that those they're very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar.
I, again, want to give some shout outs to the sound design team,
Yes.
because I don't know about you, I watched these 5 seconds back a lot while taking my notes, and noticed that each leg has its own distinct audio track going on.
Really?
And like there are a billion different sounds going on between just like the legs and the rest of the harvester doing its thing and the ornithopter and all that. And like you can, if you really sit there and you really focus, you can like pick out the individual legs' movements and sounds in sync with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we see one of the legs like hit the ground, and it makes a really solid thud, and then it hits the ground initially, and then it has like a sinking into the ground sound.
Yeah.
And that sinking into the ground sound sounds like, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if they used a sample for this. It sounds like bombs going off in like World War II footage, like that very distinct kind of shitty audio sound of bombs going off in the distance.
Okay.
But it's like a super distinct sound that if you have a really good pair of headphones,
Mm-hmm.
you can pick up on. And you know, we've talked to Raul from the music side of it, but I want to find someone on the, you know, sound design team for like all the other sound effects and everything.
Yeah.
And I want to ask specifically about that and just be like, hey, did you guys sample a bomb going off for this? Because it's what it sounds like.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and note or pay close attention to that.
Yeah.
We both use the same headphones, and they're pretty good.
Not exactly the same. Mine are higher impedance. So.
Oh, excuse me. So this crawler,
Yes.
It's getting mighty close to this group of snorkels we see now.
Just a little. Yeah.
there's-
Did you
there-
count how many snorkels? Because I did.
Good. How many?
9.
9. Okay. So 9 snorkels.
Yep.
It's getting mighty close. And also, here's a little beef. I have one beef to talk about.
I've got some beeves this week.
Okay, good. How do the goons not see this? They're not exactly discreet. They don't blend into the sand. How do the goons not see these snorkels just right in front of them? Okay, you're like shifting in your seat like you got something to say.
Art and Soul has an answer.
What the hell?
There's limited mobility and vision from the Harkonnen armor.
Oh, okay, cool. So plot armor. It's
Yeah.
that's literal plot armor.
There's going to be a lot of that this week as well.
Okay, cool.
But one of the things that's really cool about the setup that the Fremen have here with their sand snorkels and with their guerrilla tactics, we'll call them, is that they are able to, through feeling vibrations in the sand, determine the approximate location of the harvester and pick that right time to just jump out of the sand and strike and attack when they know that the harvester is close enough to them that they can use it for cover if they need to.
Well, it looks like one person was not so good at that. No, we don't. Obviously, we do not get confirmation of this, but it really fucking looks like one of them got run over. It might just be the camera angle.
I did not see that in the.
After we're done with this, go back and look because it looks like one of them. The harvester tracks go right over it. Which
I'll be honest with you. I went through this frame by frame probably like 5 to 7 times.
we'll pull it up later, and I'll point out the moment that I'm talking about. Again, it could just be the camera angle because it's right as we kind of go behind and to the left, back into the left, from the track perspective. So it could just be a perspective trick that's making me
There
think this.
is one that looks like they're kind of leaping and like around the tracks.
This is before they pop out of the sand. It looks like it goes over one of the snorkels. Is what I'm talking about. Like they don't pop out soon enough.
They definitively like jump out a few meters ahead of the thing.
In the shot where we're looking at looking from the perspective of the snorkels at the harvester, yes, they do. I'm talking about there's a shot that is kind of behind the harvesters looking at the snorkels, where it looks like one of them gets run over. Okay,
Pause.
we've talked about this enough. We're going to have to go watch this now.
Yeah, it's definitely some weird camera trickery. I don't think they would have let the harvester run over them. So
I agree with you. That's why I put it in my notes to call it out, saying like this is weird.
it's not the only weird thing that happens in this minute, though.
No, it is not. So
The Fremen leap out of the sand and begin their assault on the goons. And as is expected with guerrilla warfare, they catch them unawares and immediately murk one of them. Just like...
now they have guns, right? The soldiers on the ground, they have, or the goons, they have
The goons
guns.
have guns.
I did not hear a single gunshot from them. Even the ones that are like way down the harvester.
Oh, yeah. No, the ones like way off in the distance, they're just like, huh? What? But, so I have a sequence here. One Harkonnen is immediately taken down, but there's a goof.
Oh,
So, the first guard has his leg cut and he falls to the floor. But the Fremen that cuts that guard's leg just begins like attacking the air and pantomiming
oh no.
fighting.
Okay.
I don't know if the goof was the actor in the Harkonnen suit tripped and fell. But but like they're deliberately like cut at the leg.
Yeah.
So I think this is on the actor playing in the still suit for just like
Stabbing the air.
stabbing the air. So he stabs the air not once, but like twice.
Okay.
And your comment about the guns here, we do see a laser gun go off.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first guard has his leg cut and he falls to the ground, but the Fremen is supposed to be attacking him, just keeps attacking the air around where the soldier would have been. We see a Harkonnen guard further down begin to aim his laser gun, but another one of the Fremen dodges out of the way right before it fires. And we see the firing of the laser gun directly across the screen.
Gotcha.
It's very fast,
I completely missed that.
but we see it. The beam doesn't hit the one Fremen that like goofed, because what I initially thought was, okay, maybe like his actions just weren't synced up with the laser, and like maybe he was supposed to be shot by the laser gun. But you see the laser gun beam distinctly, as a matter of like perspective, go between where that one goofed Fremen is and the camera.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I think had they wanted to kill him, it would have like been interrupted briefly, and you would have seen it pass through him or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe it's just a weird like
Again, another
CGI goof or whatever. I don't know. Could have been a few different things, but there's definitively someone attacking the air.
Okay. Cool.
As the Harkonnen that shot his laser gun is recovering, we then see a puff of gas come out of his face shield, seemingly shot by another Mala pistol. Because A, we had already seen that in the movie.
Yeah.
And B, he just kind of like collapses immediately afterward. No one actually stabs him.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Took a headshot then.
This is what happens when you go through sequences frame by frame. You
Yeah.
notice all these little things. But yeah, we see him shot in the head by a Mala pistol. Definitively not a laser gun. Smoke is coming out of the domed helmet as the Fremen that dodged out of the way of the laser gun and additional Fremen are now running past to 2v2 some more Harkonnen guards.
Right.
The Harkonnen guards are easily dispatched.
Yep. I noted that there was one Fremen who does a 1v2 right after this, and that's your girl Chani.
No.
No.
So there's one Fremen with a bag over their shoulder that comes into frame and makes quick work of some Harkonnen guards.
Yeah.
And this is Paul.
Oh,
Paul
I
is
got
the
my
one
voices
with the
mixed up.
bag. Chani is the one with the launcher over her shoulder.
Right. Okay.
And we get another moment of just dialogue for the movie. You okay? Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
Now,
I got my voices mixed up in my characters. Dang it.
now,
Yes.
watching this, had a moment of realization that this choreography looked very familiar.
Okay.
So I went back to Dune Part 1. I went to minute 99
Oh, no.
with the shitty Paul face CG.
Oh, it's the same.
It is not exactly the same.
Okay.
So, fun fact here. I'm just going to read right off of my notes because this is seemingly the best way to describe it. I went back to an hour and 39 or so in Dune Part 1. And the kills that Paul does in Dune Part 1 are in the reverse order of what we see in Dune Part 2. In Part 1, the first kill is a flip back over the next stab and then a gut slash. But in Part 2, it's the gut slash, then the flip back over the next stab.
Oh, okay.
The more you know. Rainbow Star.
Interesting. And it's important to know that scene that you're talking about from Dune Part 1 is a prescient vision.
It is a prescient vision. However, it is Paul fighting Sardaukar, not Harkonnen.
Right.
With really shitty CG of Timothy Chalamet's face.
Yes. We know.
We Go back and listen to episode 99 of the Dune Minute Part 1. We tear that shit up.
Yeah, it's not
Not good.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Um,
So maybe Paul's reenacting things that he just has in his head.
or maybe, that, and we've talked about it before, prescient visions are not fact. It's
Right.
not, exactly how it's going to go down. So there are bits and pieces that are maybe taken from other places. But the Fremen kicking ass is unfortunately going to come to an end here because our good friend, the Ornithopter gunner, is starting to take aim and just begins firing his shotgun blast turret down at the soldiers, killing Harkonnens and Fremen alike.
Yeah. I'll talk more about this gun tomorrow because it plays a more heavy part in tomorrow's episode.
Okay.
This thing is super, super quiet. If you didn't see the puffs on the ground, it's hard to tell that the gun is firing. At least in the mix that we're hearing right now.
Sure. I'm wondering if it's a situation where just the Ornithopter itself is louder than the gun. So
Could be, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I'll save the rest of that for tomorrow because it is. I got some gun maths.
Well, I got some gun notes from Art and Soul.
Let's steer them.
So, the gun was made by BGI Supplies in London.
Okay.
It was then sent to Budapest for approval, and from Budapest sent to Jordan to be fit into the Black Hawk that we discussed yesterday. A lot of thought went into how to block and shoot this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, production decided on a wire cam, which, if you're not familiar, is a camera hooked up either to a set of steel cables that have two motors on like the farthest ends that will like work together. One will push, one will pull. If you've ever seen chain.
Yeah, if you've ever seen like an NFL game or sports arenas,
any kind of sky cam is.
Yeah, they utilize these a lot.
Yeah. But they decided that the wire cam was going to be the best way to keep up with the very rapid action of all of the different actors down this one direct path that they're taking here.
Fair enough. I would have assumed drone.
You would have assumed, but the drones come later.
Okay, cool.
This and future sequences in the week were shot at a place called the Shadow Lot, which we'll talk more about why it was called Shadow Lot later. But what you need to know now is that it was in the Liwa Desert in Abu Dhabi, and a crew of up to 1,000 would be working on this film here, and whole ass roads had to be built just to reach various base camps for film production.
Damn.
So,
okay.
Yeah. A lot of infrastructure and everything goes into making movies, and I think that's one of the things about film and TV that people often don't think about is like you have hundreds or thousands of people working on these, so you have to build, in certain cases, whole ass like infrastructure systems to be able to support that, whether it's water or roads or running electricity or whatever. So,
yeah. It's more of a logistics problem than anything else.
Yeah. I'm sure the people that handle those logistics have all their work and more cut out for them.
Oh, sure.
So. But those are all of my Art and Soul notes for today. I'm going to have a little bit more talking about Shadow Lot tomorrow. So.
All right, cool. Well, let's call this one and get into it tomorrow.
Alrighty. Well, as always, you can find us online on Blue Sky. We are at duneminute.com. You can email duneminute@gmail.com if you'd like to get in touch with us that way. And we will see you tomorrow for a Wednesday episode of the Dune Minute.
See you then.